Hi, and welcome to this tutorial in which we're going to learn about first conditional. Something conditional will only happen if something else happens. Let's study the following example. If I have time, I will go shopping at the weekend. Now, this sentence has two parts. The first part starts with if, and this is a subordinate conjunction which starts what we call an if clause, or it is a subordinate clause or dependent clause. We call it so because we cannot understand the meaning of this clause unless we read the second part of the sentence. So if I just step in and say, if I have time, yeah, and then what? Okay, so you are waiting for the second part of the sentence to fully understand the meaning of the sentence. The second part of the sentence is what we call the main clause. Now let's study the if clause. Where is the verb? The verb is have. In which tense is this verb? It is in the simple present tense. It's clear. Have. Now in the main clause, which is the second part of the sentence, the verb is will go, which is future, and we said it's future because we have will and followed by the base form of the verb. So let's wrap up. We said that a conditional sentence, which is first type conditional, starts with the subordinate conjunction if followed by a verb in the present simple tense, and in the second part of the sentence we have will followed by the base form. And a base form means an infinitive without to. For example, a verb like to go, the base form of it is go. Okay, here is another example. If you drive too fast, you will make an accident. We have the first part of the sentence, which is an if clause. We have the subordinate conjunction if, followed by the verb drive, which is in the simple present tense. And in the second part of the sentence, which is the main clause, we have the verb will make, which is in the future. Will, followed by a base form. Great. Now, here is another example. What's the difference between this example and the previous one? Let's read it together. You will pass the test if you study hard. Well, have you noticed that the if clause is not in the beginning of the sentence, but rather at the end of it? Okay? So we have the subordinate conjunction if in the middle, and it begins the if clause. And the verb here is in the simple present. The second part of the sentence, which is the main clause, the verb in it, will pass, is in the future. Will followed by a base form. So let's wrap up this. We said that a conditional sentence starts with if, or sometimes if can be in the middle of the sentence. So we have if followed by present simple tense of the verb, and in the main clause we have will plus the base form. What we've just done is just switched the place of the if clause and the main clause. Here is an example. We'll go to the park if it's sunny. We can say this sentence by starting with the if clause, and the sentence reads, if it's sunny, we'll go to the park. They have practically the same meaning. The only difference is that when we start with the if clause, then we put a comma before the main clause. We use the first conditional to talk about something that is possible and quite likely to happen in the future. I read this again because it's important. We set the first conditional to talk about something that is possible, that is likely to happen in the future. For example, If we continue to use coal at today's speed, it will last for 60 years. Another sentence. You will be able to see better if you turn on the light. Notice here that the if clause is at the end of the sentence. Okay? Here is another example. If we use our cars less, we will create less pollution. If we don't train well, you won't win the next match. So in the if clause here, the verb don't train is in the negative form. That's why we use the auxiliary don't followed by the base form of the verb to train. Okay? So in the negative form, it reads don't train. In the main clause, the verb is also in the negative. And instead of using the long form will not, I use the short form won't. So won't is the short form for will not. The complete sentence reads, if you don't train well, you won't win the match. If our car breaks down, we'll try to fix it. So in the if clause here, the verb is in the simple present. And notice that it bears or carries the singular marker, the letter S at the end, because the verb has to agree with the subject. If our car is a singular noun, that's why we need to put an S at the end of the verb break. If our car breaks down, we'll try to fix it. This is the short form of we will. We can use the short form will try to fix it. If you cook the supper, I'll wash the dishes. Okay? And last sentence, Paula will be sad if Joanne leaves. Our lesson today was about the first conditional.